It is almost time to start fishing. Got the shelter set up, the holes drilled, but I've got one more thing to add that I really think makes this setup the ultimate ice fishing setup, and that's what I'm going to show you today. So stick around. Hi everyone, welcome to the Fishing Dough channel. I'm Josh, and thanks for keeping me company on the ice today. If you've got a pop-up, then you can really appreciate the comfort it adds on those cold, windy, nasty days. But you can make it even more comfortable with one little addition, and that is flooring. But not just any flooring will work. It's got to keep you warm, keep you dry, be easy to transport, and even easier to set up. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the very best flooring options that anyone can get and use. However, before we even get to that, we've got to go over the very worst flooring options that you definitely want to avoid. Okay, when I say the worst flooring options, that doesn't mean you couldn't use it in a pinch. It's just there's good reasons why you'd want to avoid them. The first type of flooring you might want to leave back at home is carpet. Carpet like this, which is outdoor carpet, still can be a problem. It absorbs quite a bit of water, it can freeze to the ice, and then end up being a pretty big mess to put back in your sled. The next one's probably pretty obvious to you, but I've seen it out on the ice, and that's open cell foam. Open cell foam absorbs water like a sponge, so using it in your shelter means it's going to be sopping wet in no time. Don't take this one out on the ice. Another flooring option that we don't really recommend for ice fishing is wood. Something like a pallet or a piece of plywood like this has some serious disadvantages. For starters, it's very heavy and it's very hard on the knees. It's not very soft, it's not very comfortable, and after a day of fishing, you might be aching. There's a couple more subpar flooring options that I should mention. The first being rubber mats. Those are just too heavy to bring out on the ice and they get cumbersome in the sled. The next is styrofoam. Please don't bring styrofoam on the ice. It ends up breaking and causing a lot of litter that nobody wants to see. The last on the list of bad options isn't actually that bad, and it's a tarp. A tarp like this is lightweight, easy to transport onto the ice, keeps you reasonably dry, and it's cheap. But like the other options, it has some major drawbacks that you might want to consider. The first is it's very noisy. When you're setting it up and laying it out in your shelter, walking around on it all day can get kind of annoying. Second, the fact that it's waterproof can actually work against you when you're fighting fish in the shelter, scooping out your ice hole, or just walking in and out on the tarp. It ends up acting like a catch basin for water. You'll get big puddles that might end up making you wetter than you would be without it. So that's why we don't really suggest using a tarp unless that's all you got. In that case, it would work, but there are better options. Out of all of the best options you could possibly have for your ice fishing shelter, our personal favorite, and the one we use most of the time, are these floor mats. These are made from EVA foam, and they're awesome. They provide plenty of cushion, and they're pretty easy to transport in any ice fishing sled. The other thing is, they're cheap. You can get a pack of 6 of these on Amazon for about $25, which isn't bad considering that you could use a set of these to cover an entire floor in just about any ice fishing shelter. If you wanted to, you could even take a nap while you're fishing, but you're going to want to do that at your own risk. Overall, these floor mats are what we highly recommend you use for flooring in your ice fishing shelter. But there are a couple other really great options that we're going to cover now. An EVA foam yoga mat like this is actually really tough to beat and is a close contender to the EVA foam floor mats that we showed you. What's great about these yoga mats is they're super portable. They roll up tight and can fit in just about any sled. Plus, like the floor mats, they don't absorb any water, they're very warm, and they provide a reasonable amount of cushion when you're kneeling on them. The price isn't bad either. For about $20, you can get a yoga mat just like this. The biggest advantage of a yoga mat like this is its versatility. If you don't want as much space taken up with it, you can fold it in half. You can cut it up if you want to have smaller pieces. You can really arrange a yoga mat anywhere in your shelter to fit. Sometimes the best flooring option is the smallest. The reason for that is mobility. Even if you have a shelter, you still might want to pop a few holes around and be able to bounce from hole to hole. And a kneel pad is going to allow you to do that. If a kneel pad is too small for you, you could even get away with using an EVA foam mat, just one, and that'll provide you with a 2-foot square piece to kneel on. So while you might not consider it flooring, it's still an invaluable tool to have in your arsenal. One of the things I get asked about a lot is flooring designed specifically for a shelter. There's a few reasons why that doesn't appeal to me. The first being, not every shelter manufacturer makes a flooring option for their shelters. Clam is probably the only one I know of. Also, it suffers the same disadvantages as a tarp, and they're not very versatile as far as arranging it inside your shelter. I really think the other options we talked about are probably a better alternative. Now, those were some flooring options that we honestly feel are the best for any ice fishing situation. And if you agree, you can find links in the description below for the EVA floor mats that we use, as well as the yoga mat and kneel pads that we highly recommend and we know will work for you. Thank you so much for joining us on this Fishing Duo episode. Our primary goal is to help improve your fishing experience. And if you think we succeeded, please consider subscribing. Hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to turn on the notifications. That way you're instantly updated when we post a new video. And in the meantime, don't forget to check out our blog, fishingduo.com, where we have tons of gear reviews, fishing advice, and more how-to guides. Until then, we'll see you on the ice.